Hey guys, we're back with the Great Ace Attorney. We still got a bit to go. So let's head to the hospital. 2nd of November. This is the ward where Mr. Vigil was brought, apparently. To be frank, why are you Frank now? A little worried about seeing him again. Ah, the lawyer. Hello again. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigil? Yes, thank you. Somewhat better. So sorry to have caused you, it's because of me. If I hadn't exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you'd obviously try to forget. The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago, too. You just missed him. Alright, we haven't talked to Cosmo yet, have we? Cosmo beat us to it. He said much the same as you. He was very apologetic. The truth is, I brought all this upon myself. Don't think like that. Keeping it up from Evie, my wife, all these years. He had such a sense of guilt. What? Is that her full name? Yeah, I'll go. You think we're gonna see those two again? That's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously came to deceive myself as well. You mean about your dismissal? Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. And he compensated me so generously for acting as a stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could to help. Perhaps Gregson knew exactly what had become of Mr. Vigil all along then. I'm sure this is just desserts for 10 years of lies and deception, but it wasn't me that helped the professor escape 10 years ago. It wasn't me! I swear it! I swear it's true! Oh, Mr. Vigil. Sure, you'd rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time, but if possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened? I want to. I need to get all this off my chest. I want somebody to tell me what I should have done! Has your wife left you yet? Gregson's request. He was obviously engaged in a special operation of sorts. He's investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about. Details of the Reaper's marks, yes. So when he had to carry out those investigations, he'd take his identification and impersonate him. Pretend to be an inspector and carry out investigations on his behalf? No, never. Captain Street Peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the specified location, make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here. So that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident? Yes. He asked me to make an appearance at the park, yeah. So as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around. He's very vocal about my presence. Then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters. Yes. You'd always make a point of showing Gregson's identification and generally being loud? That's what the inspector asked me to do, yes. That's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though. As you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hands. The following day, they kept their word and released me. Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however. But I arranged to meet at Fresno Street Room at 5 that day, so I could report back to the inspector. At the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot. Prison escape. It was at midnight on 17th of June, 10 years ago. That's the time scheduled for the execution. But it never actually took place, did it? Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. Hardly dare to imagine what a chilling plan it was. Barclay was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there's one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole, something that was never questioned. I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the convicts were placed, correct? Yes. So we pulled a Monte Cristo. Once the coroner confirmed the deaths of a condemned convict, the body was taken in his coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery just behind the prison. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. After that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. When the executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. I'd waited in an adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had the confirmation, went into the mortuary to find a low coffin as usual. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. For some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. No! I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. So you mean the coffin contained... Yes. I could only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out to the main gates and deposited in the Low Gate Cemetery. Oh. Presumably, there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long. So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free. But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Low Gate Cemetery that night, I wonder? I wonder if we're gonna bring, Drebber back for this case. Or Madame Two Spells. I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say with certainty are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. That somebody was not me. It had to be Miko Toba, right? Like, he could have done that with good intentions, but who shot him then? Obviously, you knew the man then. The professor, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know? Having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After the trial, well, it didn't, closed trial, they called for this execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it? As a time of delicate diplomacy, Britain and Japan were in a process of signing an important treaty. That meant that the potentially de-establishing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. The man had less than a week in total. As I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean exactly? He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman, a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, were you really responsible? I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life. Yes. So I killed someone. He killed the actual professor? The following... I don't know who the professor is! The following day, the closed trial took place. The verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something. Something unusual. Something unusual? What? The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. Yeah? As I said, it was on the night following his trial. I was doing the rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand. Yeah? As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back. Why do you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh? Yes, that's true. There are special conditions to his incarceration, you see? What sort of conditions? Even though he's held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he's allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception. No paper? He's allowed his things? That is unusual, certainly. Of course, he'd been convicted for killing 5 members of the aristocracy. Same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire. Hospitality rules! Let's go! Powers that were to be determined. That were determined that his final day shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. What was the exception? Like paper? That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials, so he couldn't, you know, leak what really happened. Specifically, no pens or paper. So, He was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him. Yes, it's the long and short of it. I have no idea where you obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he hid the paper behind his back. Then he pleaded with me. What did you just hide behind your back? Please. Please turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline. But, you know it's against the rules. You're the only person who's seen. You just agree to keep quiet. Alright then. What's on that paper? A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. How can a will be a weapon? I decided to pretend I'd seen nothing. I let him keep his will. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without a trace. What? What do you mean it vanished? It would seem this isn't the end of the story of his mysterious will. Where did it go? I was kind of assuming he was in the grave with them. I was the only person who saw his will, but somehow it disappeared. It was after Asogi's execution. It was exactly an elaborate jailbreak. The warders gathered up his possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan. To poor Kazuma-sama. What if it's in the sword? You have to break the sword to get it. You're saying it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects? The will, I mean. That's right. They didn't search through them myself. Governor Caden was livid. He was screaming, "He cannot have disappeared completely!" That doesn't quite make sense, though. Wait. How does he know about the will? He snitched? That doesn't quite make sense. What way? We've understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prisoner governor know to look for it? You're right. You really don't know how he knew. It certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was, the Asogi papers. Ooh! The Asogi papers. It reveals that there's a bunch of like billionaires who keep like using tax havens offshores or something, and nobody will do anything once it leaks. They can't tell you anything about the subsequent events. As well, what happened? Your dismissal? Well, you blocked it all from your memory. Forgotten all about it until today. Don't suppose it's relevant to the case, though. Thank you very much for sharing it with us. We're very grateful. I'm afraid there's really little more I can tell you. My wife Evie will be here shortly. I do hope I don't appear rude, but... No, thank you again. I'll be coming with you now. Impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. Imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I should be arrested. I'm so sorry. Don't be, please. This was all my own doing. I always knew that this day would come. Well, wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. I mean, when they find out that, you know, Ah! Before you go! There's just one thing. Yeah? Yes? What is it? The Asogi papers. Yeah? I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them. Presumably for a good reason? It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. If it became known that I'd remembered, well, it could be rather troublesome, I think. They'd have him killed? I understand. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder. Perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. Is anyone who might know more about a document that he left behind? Be Mr. Vigil's governor! He said don't mention them at all, and we're gonna immediately go mention it. We know precisely where we must go, like to Barclay. He looks like he's having fun. Let's leave him alone. There. Little guillotine clock. Is he always posed like that? Ooch. Back again, are ya? Yes? Hello. Heard all about your investigations. Read the report just now. Found him, eh? Vigil. Yes, luckily. Well, anywho. Glad he doesn't work here no more. Your case is not to do with Barclay. Wouldn't like ya. You get the wrong idea about that. Of course, yes. Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so... We've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He's given the chop. Hey, Kimmer. You can very well. How about a wee handcuff biscuit? Oh, they really are like little handcuffs? As hard as irons, too. Oh, you should make them softer. What brought you doing here today? Well, there's something I would like to ask you about, actually. Is that so? We believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi's cell. Okay, we're just mentioning it. I think it's been called... the Asogi Papers or something. Did I no say? Gregson's death is not to do with things that might have happened at Barclay. Leave the past in the past, laddie. Let's not fool about with irrelevant details. His expressions changed completely. Yeah, he brought his comb out. Posing for a picture. We're clearly onto something here. Dude, if only we had a Magatama. We could get him to break. 10-year-old legacy. That murderer's botched execution. Oh, miserable escape. Your Barclay's darkest hour, eh? Shocking embarrassment. Is the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff? Hey, for shame. Coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his execution, Courtney Scythe. My chief warder at the time, Vigil, was in charge of the whole affair. Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it. Rascal wanted to say otherwise, eh? More handcuffs? Well, how could I say no? Oh. Ah, no, stop it, stop it, stop it! Never have too much iron in your diet. Mr. Vigil handled his dismissal notice. He's so despairing, he jumped out of your office window, didn't he? I didn't like to say. That's just Vigil trying to get out of it. You don't think he wouldn't have jumped from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do. You wanted to say otherwise, though, wouldn't you? Shut up, Yonosuke. Of course, cannot shun all responsibility myself. I shouldn't have let him deceive me. Actually, barely anybody that kens what went on at the time now. With Gregson having been murdered, Dr. Scythe forbidden from having any visitors. No visitors? Though he obviously doesn't want her giving anything away. Well, we're not going home empty-handed. I wanted to dream of sending a new pack and would not, Kimmer. Here, take a handcuff or two. Oh, well, it would be rude to say no. We don't want to become anemic. Suppose. Is there anybody who might still ken about what happened back then? Be that last from the forensic division. Oh, Maria Gori. Maria Gori? She's the plague doctor? Hey, Scythe's daughter. She didn't have no more. Just the one. What's with the last names then? Wee Bear Brains followed in her ma'am's footsteps. You didn't ever see her without a scalpel in her hand. Ah! Yep. I remember. Dr. Scythe's daughter. We can do with talking to her. Gory. Who's the dad? Their surname is Gory? Hey, there's some family history, I'm sure. You ken the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching her ma'am working with the bodies of the folk who died in strange circumstances. So to do the same with her whole life. Can I understand it myself? I'm sure it's driven by deep respect for her mother. Perhaps. Anywho, she was in charge of Gregson's autopsy, I believe. Right. The coroner responsible for this incomplete report. You would think, like, after finding out the whole team was kind of compromised, they would be fired. Especially the daughter of the woman, but, you know. Someone told me once that the wee lassie always loved her ma'am's stories about cutting up bodies. I mean, I guess they do need coroners, like, you know, you can't fire all of them. Even a rumor she used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby. Perhaps her mother might have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago. Aye, So there's a fighting chance at least. After all, it's a life-changing case for all of us. We really need to speak to her ourselves about this. Thank you very much. I'm no happy about any part of this. Took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you not give up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions. Sorry. I don't like judging up these painful memories for anyone. Can you not just say, stay away, no? Leave me alone until I come back here, eh? We still have one, yeah, we still have this. One more thing. How do you come to learn about that, laddie? There's not many folks even here in the prison who've heard of those papers. Well, can't tell Mr. Vigil told me. I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir. Huh. We've been led to believe the papers are actually a last will and testament. Is that right? The professors, or rather Genshin Asogi's. Hey, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy. I'm not Jimmy. At the end of the silent treatment? Then after the convict's execution, mysteriously vanished, didn't it? Havers, no. You're half-cocked there. Like you didn't quite get your facts straight. It was there in this cell, exactly where it should have been. Oh. Not that we heard elsewhere. Cover up? Let me just have a wee look around in here. Sure I could find it. Hey, here you are. See? The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi, written with a calligraphy brush. Of course, I cannot get a word of those Japanese squiggles. Mine, it says, he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son back in his homeland. You know, that's a really small cabinet to have 10-year-old files in. I mean, I guess it's an important case, so, you know, maybe he keeps them somewhere else. That's the gist of it. So these are the Asogi papers. Hey, of course they are. Papers written by Asogi. Nay, that'll boot it. There's no mystery here, laddie. That's your lot. So did Mikotoba put him there? After all that shamish of that slicer of an execution, we sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan. That was the end of it. I'm going to make a record of this, Mr. Narioto, just in case. One thing before you go on your way, Mr. Narioto. I'll read them after. Yes? Those papers are not to do with Gregson's death. Prefer if you didn't make no mention of them outside the office. Or rather, wouldn't just prefer it. Consider it an order from the highest levels of our government. I understand. We're so gonna mention it. We're so mentioning it. I, Genshin Asogi, hereby request that upon my death, any and all material possessions and my wealth belonging to me in London be delivered to my son Kazuma in Japan. It's with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land, with the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or my family again, but I regret nothing about my chosen path. Okay. We're gonna cut to black. Do we have anything to present here? I don't think so. Let's just go. And, you know, if we have to come back here, we have to come back here. Where is... No coroner's office? We can do Kazuma. Well, that's us. It's a new text, so... Yeah, Kazuma! You're standing ominously looking out the window. But it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Yunosuke. I was waiting here for 30 minutes posing. Please hurry next time. It's right about what I said, wasn't it? That you have all the makings of a great defense lawyer. I always believed that you'd fulfill your dream of advocating in the British courts. Should never imagine for 1 second it'd be as a prosecutor. Seeing you stand in a foreign courtroom, so gallantly realizing your dream, I'm truly happy for you. And I truly am thankful for you, Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. Yunosuke. I always thought it would be fun for you and I to shake up the British legal system a little together. He's like, stop talking to me, woman. I'm trying to talk with my best friend here. This isn't quite how I envisaged. envisaged? I read that word as envisioned, but no, that's...
Envisage.
Envisage, yeah. I suppose it's just another twist of fate. Right, they mean pretty much the same thing. I learned a lot of things during my time in London. But how Susato's father was himself a visiting student, along with the judge. And about what happened with your father. You have no difficulty understanding why I had no choice. Why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself. I want to hear it from you, Kazuma. As you wish, Yonosuke Naruhodo. Yep. Oh, hold on. No. I think that's the only thing, yeah. Your disappearance. Getting on for a year now. This is what happened to the SS Bouillon. Running across the oceans. Yeah. How many times have we seen the CG? But I lost my best friend forever. Must have been unconscious for a long time. When I woke up, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. Supposed to have flowers by the pillow. It took me a little while to realize I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room and I headed up onto the deck. Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point? Yes. I didn't know what was happening or where I was. It's just this voice in my head. Something to do. Something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain. And this is actually Shalm's whispering in his ear. Your task awaits you there. It's a calling I couldn't ignore. Oh, are we ever going to see Hosonaga again? Oh, that's probably who they got a telegram, isn't it? Compel me relentlessly. Out on deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship and we were docked in a large port. Must have been Hong Kong. Yes, it must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off the ship. I had no idea of the situation. I did have the feeling this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. And I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city, so I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. Yeah, how do you get there? Just under a year ago, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. My head reeled, I was truly at a loss. I escaped as a dead man, nothing but the clothes on my back. Did he work as a sailor to get to Britain? Luckily though, I had 2 feathers in my cap. Bring your knowledge of English, I suppose? That's right. The back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deckhand on a cargo ship. Okay. Eventually, after calling at countless ports, finally arrived at Dover. It must have been some 3 months ago now. Your formidable tenacity of purpose showing itself again. The man had lost his memory. There literally nothing to his name. He still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world. Of course, I had no idea why I'd moved heaven and earth to get here at that point. How did you end up becoming Van Cease's apprentice then? That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. Took me straight to Scotland Yard. A sheer coincidence? Sheer coincidence! Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play. Would that have been your knowledge of the law? Yes, exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law. Took me back with him to the Supreme Court, sent me to the prosecutor's office. And 9 days ago, you finally got your memory back in the trial involving Jubber. Yes, I did. Your father. Ever since I first met you at Yume, you talked about your dream. Mark my words, Yonosuke. I'll be chosen as a visiting student, make my way here to Great Britain someday. Did you know the entire time about what happened to your father here? 16 years ago. Oh, monologue time! He had hair! My father had left on that exciting trip to Great Britain. I was just a boy. Took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. What I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. Are those birds in the background going to be evidence? 6 years ago after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. Told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. It was Professor Mikotoba. Your father, Susato-san. Oh my! Ever since then, the professor is very good to me. He even helped to fund my university education at Yume. I'll be forever in his debt. Nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe what he told me. Oh. Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Britain. There's no indication of the sender, so I opened it, assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. What I read in that letter changed my entire life. What did it say? It said that my father had been a mass murderer. The writer cursed the Asogi name. Oh no! Wait, hold on. From Britain. Who could know that? As a result of that letter, I found what would have been hidden from me all those years. Letter from Britain. Presumably the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. Whoever it had been a member of the judiciary, could have been present at the close trial. The letter revealed my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer. Sorry you had to find out that way. I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. Someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear the resentment was always going to be a problem. But still, it could have been written by anyone. Why would he believe such a thing? There's a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It's the first I'd ever heard of the professor, his terrible killing spree. What did my father have to say about the letter? Couldn't bring myself to show it to him. Why not? Because he deliberately concealed the truth from me by telling me my father was taken by a fatal illness. That couldn't have been easy for him. He'd done it out of consideration for my feelings. So instead, I showed the letter to Judge Shikoku, to the other visiting student. He faltered for the briefest of moments, then he just laughed the letter off. In that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily, before recovering his poise. A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. That's when I made up my mind, that one day, without fail, I'd cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. Truth about my father, Genshin Asogi. He's so cool. I want to be Kazuma when I grow up. I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way. Oh, Kazuma-sama. The Reaper's Trial. What we learned today in court turned things completely on their head. It's an impressive piece of lawyering, Yunosuke Naruhodo. He isn't the Reaper, you know. I almost don't want to believe it myself. Turns out that Gregson himself, the victim, was... It's clear that the inspector was behind the Reaper's activity all along. No! No way! What? You mean you know? The real question is, who's been giving orders to the inspector? Sparrow Van Zix is the real Reaper. I know that 10 years ago it was him. He decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to his grave. He's merely seeking that justice was done as the law dictates. He's not to blame. Ultimately, it's people who condemn people. The law is just a tool that they use to do it. So cool. When a man condemns another, he must take responsibility for his actions. Of course he must. I know for certain that my father would never have taken another man's life. Kazuma. On the contrary, my father's life was taken by the Reaper. Can we present the papers now? No? Oh, can we... We could probably examine this, can't we? Why is Sholmes on the ground? The scale model of the crime scene. And why isn't he on the outline? That's just silly. Yes, I realize that. Does the prosecution office make a model of the scene for every single case? Apparently so. Really? Sometimes it helps to visualize things better. Notice things you hadn't spotted before. Actually, the miniature notice board is my work. You enjoyed making that. Do we have anything left? We could go back to Fresno Street. I guess? Maybe there's something there? And Gina's probably there, right? 2nd of November, room on Fresno Street. She's not. Just the boys. These are all new, but I doubt you actually have to examine them. Okay, hold on, get the guide up so I don't waste more time here. Game FAQs. Twisted Karma. Investigation part. Oh no, that's the fun. Oh, is there not? That's weird. There's not a second trial in this case. It just ends after the investigation. Ooh, does that mean then? Converse with Kazuma, present autopsy report. Okay, okay. Why the autopsy report? Does that mean that the final case is just a 100% trial? That would be sick. Present. Like what, permission to go to the corner? This came up in the trial a little, didn't it? Something a little dubious, I mean. That no time of death was recorded on the autopsy report. Yeah, Kazuma was like, ooh, that Edgeworth guy really likes to update the autopsy. I want to try that. There's some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. Suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something. Considering what the pocket watch had stopped and the scorch marks on the candle, it's certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence and the scene both point to it. To be honest, it bothered me too, so I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. Coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. Yet, so the report. Can't you read? It's Dr. Gory. Well, if we want to trouble you, we'd very much like to speak with the coroner too. Of course. Last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory is behind Lowgate Cemetery. At Barclay Prison, you mean? Ah, you know it, do you? Prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life. Kazuma-sama? Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the laboratory later today. Runosuke, I want to thank you. What for? For this. You safeguarded the soul of the Asogi clan. Is this like the 3rd time we've done this? It's a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. My only slight regret is that I never got the chance to draw it before I returned it to you. Oh my god, there's 100% like a piece of paper or something in there. Karuma is said to have been forged by a master swordsmith during the Sengoku Warring States period. Came from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen. Well then, you're chip off the old block, I'd say. This blade, Karuma, is the symbol of the Asogi's clan honor and might. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name for a surname. Karuma. Sounds formidable, that's for sure. 16 years ago, my father was a visiting student here in London. He had this sword forever at his side. Which is why it means so much to me that I have it by my side now too. And that is all thanks to you. It was an honor. Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much. Kazuma, you've changed. Yeah, you have no headband on. No, Yunosuke. I haven't changed at all. It's you who's changed. I can completely understand your resentment for Lord Van Zeeks given what happened. Fact is, those events in this case are, well, unrelated? Is that what you want to say? How can you be so sure? What do you mean? Yunosuke, think! It's a case 5! It's all gonna come together. Never mind. That man is the Reaper. It's for that reason the inspector was killed. Gonna prove as much in court tomorrow. Whatever means necessary. Yunosuke doesn't realize that case 4 and 5 are connected, but Kazuma does. Can't let you do that, Kazuma. Can't let you do that, Kazuma. It's a little, who says that, Wolf? I know you'll do what you have to as a lawyer. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that I won't be taking any prisoners in the courtroom. Expect nothing less. Oh yeah, they take prisoners to jail, not the courtroom. Well, then they take them to the courtroom, but... Till tomorrow, then. I mean, I guess, you know, you'd be taking Van Zieks as a prisoner to the courtroom, so that's a lie. In the Old Bailey. Okay, we've still got quite a bit left. Let's talk to the coroner and then cut the video. Given there's so much left, we probably have like a Sholmes Power Hour special. Oh, she redecorated. This place really is creepy, isn't it? Well, being a dead room, it's probably full of the spirits of the dissected. Actually, there's a rather pleasing scent of roses in the air. Being a dead room, her corner probably needs a bold scent like that to mask the odor of death. Iris? You think we could change the subject? Ghosts! Shink shink? What is shink? What was that? She teleported into the chair! Dr. Gory? Yeah? What? Well, that noise before. I'm sharpening my tools. I'd be dead meat if I didn't keep a perfectly keen edge on them. You're right, take off the mask and reveal you're a cute anime girl. When following the collagen fibers in the dermis, expertly sharpened scalpel, cuts like cheese. Would you like a demonstration? Oh yes, please, I'd love to see. Then, I think you'll do nicely. Huh? No, I want to do nicely, not me. Do your Susato. Maybe some other time. Was that a tut? Came here to ask questions, so... Does she have a profile? Oh, she's a cute anime girl! The daughter of Dr. Seth, who also gets a corner like your mother. Here's out all the autopsy work and corpses. Finally, the goth girls show up. We've been waiting for this. Time of death. We actually have met before. I'm a lawyer, if you remember. You're not dead yet. What? So Mama said I wasn't to cut you open. She's so strict about things like that. Well, good. Dr. Seth has some scruples, at least. Oh dear. Looks like she's not interested in talking to us. For the time being, anyway. For the time being? Until we die? Well, there's a way off. Sorry, but wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. Surely there's some less drastic way of making her listen. Present something? Wait, okay, we actually came to ask you about this. He was very good. Good? Sorry? His skin didn't stank my blade once. He was just faking it. He was pretending. And very little mess. His joist is located easily. His muscle tissue is a pleasure to work with. We can skip those details. There's one thing about the report that's caught my attention. I don't seem to have recorded a time of death. Oopsie. That's not my fault. Oh, that made me jump. Let's go, cute anime girls, cute anime goth girls. Please, tell us what happened. Time of death. So, why doesn't this autopsy report include the victim's time of death? It's really the most crucial detail. Did someone tell her not to? I was told not to write it. What? By whom? Male Strongheart. Oh, the Lord Chief Justice. He came here. Lord Strongheart came? He said that from the witness statements about the gunshot and the other evidence, it was obvious. The man clearly died at 5 p.m. on the 1st of November. Oh, it is the 1st of November, huh? When the gunshot was heard. That's not the time of death you wrote on the report. You didn't write anything. Was there some reason you didn't include it? Dr. Gory, if you're hiding something under Lord Strongheart's instructions, sooner or later you're gonna go the same way as your mother. Give it here, then. What's she scribbling so furiously? There. You've written... What? What you written? Yeah, tell us. Yeah. Indeterminate. Oh. But an accurate estimation of the time of death is not possible. Because he's not actually dead! Let's go! Indeterminate. What do you mean by that? Why was the time of death indeterminate? When the specimen was brought in, it was still fresh. So the time of death could easily have coincided when the gunshot was heard. But there's one small discrepancy. What discrepancy? There's some fried fish in the pocket of the specimen's overcoat. And that fish, it started to rot. What? The victim liked fried fish. He presumably liked to eat it before it went off. Well, yes. What are you really trying to say? That's how we get him. That's how we know. The real Gregson would never let his fish rot. It's possible that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death. Is that even possible to do? Like, keep him somewhere cold? Theoretically, for to chill the body in ice, you could delay the onset of putrefaction. The overcoat wasn't on the body at the time. Only the fish would have started to rot. With today's science, it's not yet possible to determine if the body was chilled or not. But today's science is advanced enough to let you freeze a corpse, it seems. Surely, to chill a corpse like that would require an enormous electrical refrigerator. They have those? I don't imagine many households in London are equipped with such a device. Oh, definitely not. Maybe in a factory? Some other special places? I don't recall seeing any factories or such like on Fresno Street, though. I wonder, the inspector's body had been chilled somehow. What might the actual time of death have been? I couldn't say for sure. At the most, might have been a day earlier. No! In other words, you corroborate your previous deduction, Mr. Naruhodo. That Inspector Gregson was killed a day before his body was discovered at a different location. Did you inform Lord Strongheart of this possibility? He simply said there was no electrical refrigerators of that size in the vicinity. Well, but if he was at a different location. One other thing. Something the governor of Barclay Prison told us. Said your mother, Dr. Scythe, was responsible for confirming the death of the professor after his execution. The professor. Apparently you always enjoyed listening to your mother's stories about her work, so we're wondering if you might know something about what happened 10 years ago. That's not all Mama did. Sorry. My Mama carried out the autopsy of Clint Van Zieks as well. Ooh! What? Really? The brother of Lord Van Zieks, the professor's final victim. The idea of carrying out an autopsy on a member of the aristocracy was completely unthinkable back then. But the detective in charge of the investigation insisted it was miraculously authorized. Oh, right, of course. That detective being Inspector Gregson, of course. I forgot they mentioned this already. What an accomplishment for one man. But the fact that it was Scythe that did it brings something else to mind. That autopsy provided the vital clue needed to arrest the killer. Mama was there for that historic event. What does this all mean? You know, that amazing autopsy happened right here in this very room. The professor and Clint Van Zieks? They both spent their final moments before their burial on that dissection table there. So this lab, Mama's lab, was instrumental in some way to the country's most important event. So if one of them was wrong, what about the other? She really is proud of her mother. Wonder if you tell us more about exactly what happened back then, Dr. Gordon. Confirmation of death. His execution was Mama's first big case. She had to be in attendance at Barclay Prison's execution chamber. Sent the certificate to confirm the convict's death. Mama is the best coroner in the world, you know? I was so proud of her. The execution didn't actually take place. No. Worse still, Mama actually helped with the jailbreak. I didn't want to know. Oh dear. You found out recently, you mean? I believed in her, and Mama, but now I wonder if I'm starting down the same path as her. You mean, because you omitted the time of death on this autopsy report? It's because Lord Strongheart forbade you from including it. Just like Mama. I'm sure she was coerced by somebody too. That's my feeling as well. It's no doubt that there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution couldn't have been staged without a lot of people at the prison knowing about it. Obviously, the prison governor must have been in on it as well. He had to have been. Big man with the little handcuffs? According to what he told us, is tricked by the chief warder. He says he knows nothing about it, unless, like... I think he was probably in on it, and Mikotoba is doing some stuff as well. Of course he said that. I'd say the same thing. But, like... I mean, the impression the governor gave me was that, like... I don't know, was he in on it? Like, he definitely knows something. But what I don't know is the extent of what he knows. Who was behind that jailbreak all those years ago? You mentioned the autopsy of Clint Van Zeeks. Is that a time when carrying out autopsies of murder victims was very unusual? Still not a practice that's observed in our country, even now. Turned out that he's the professor's final victim when the autopsy was performed. Mama was present, although, only as a secondary assistant. Okay, so he was probably dead. The person leading the procedure is called Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, my daddy! There's one other person present, the primary assistant. He was a visiting student from the Far East, Mikotoba. Wait, a visiting student? Must have been my father, Eugene Mikotoba. I had no idea Mikotoba was involved in something so important. The outcome of that historic autopsy was the discovery of a vital piece of evidence. I want to protect that smile. That led to the capture of the professor. That's how they came to identify Genshin Asogi as the infamous mass murderer. You happen to know anything more about that piece of evidence? Would you like to see the records for yourself? Would that be alright? What's the point of keeping records if people can't look at them? They filed under V at the back of the cupboards, with the other records from the last decade. Thank you! Let's see, Van Zeeks. That's strange. What, Mr. Naruhodo? They aren't here! Ah. There's nothing under Van Zeeks. There must be. Perhaps somebody took them away? No. No one's allowed to take documents related to the professor case out of this room. But you're right. They're gone. When was the last time somebody looked at them? You remember Strongheart? It was... Oh yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. I love her expressions. A consulting detective... Sholmes! Came one day saying he'd like to see the records. No, you don't mean... Herlock Sholmes was his name. Deep down, I knew that was coming. Do you think he stole the records? Oh no, surely not. Iris, that can't be right. Can it? Yes, I can 100% believe Sholmes would steal the records. Iris? That speaks for itself. You know. I thought that was her for a second. Hope you don't mind, but... What is it, Iris? I just remembered something very important I have to do. I'm going to leave you now. Oh, this is very sudden, Iris. We'll come with you then. No, there's no need. You know, take your time here. Bye now for then. Good luck. Wait a minute, little girl. Me? I remember now. You've been here before, haven't you? 2 years ago? Have you, Iris? Yes, 2 years ago, when that detective came. You were with him, weren't you? You were a living specimen then, too. That's the way it usually works, yes? Was I? I really don't remember. Anyway, sorry. I must dash. Wait, Iris! I'll be up a pot for you when you get home. What's the matter with her? She's behaving really strangely all of a sudden. Well, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either. Been quite a while since I had any visitors. This was really fun. Next time you come, prepare if you're ready for dissection. Can't make any promises, sorry. It's a bit strange that the records of Clint Manthig's autopsy have disappeared. I think we've asked all we came to ask now. Hold on, I want to examine... Let's have a closer look at this. Let me see the stuffed animals. Not while she's armed. Go, let me look at... You... I wonder if you could have done it while talking to her. Okay. Is there... Are we just going back to Sholmes' suite? I think that's everything, right? Unless... Gina, you back yet? Oh! Yeah, okay. No. I meant to click on OBS, not you. Okay. I'll see you guys next time. I'll have to check how much longer we have left. Well, looking at game FAQs. Yeah, move to Fresno Street right there. It's kind of hard to tell, just based off the game FAQs guide. Anyways, see you guys next time. Bye.